Millennia. It's a 4X game that came out last year, and now that 2 expansions came out, a bunch of updates, and the multiplayer is now in beta. I think now is a good time to make a starting guide that will cover the first 3 eras and how to get a strong start at the beginning of the game. If you're new or just returning after a while, this will be a great refresher of a guide. Be using default settings with none of the DLC enabled to showcase a standard play experience. Starting off, nations are all the same in this game, but we do have a choice in which starting bonuses we're going to take. For this guide I'll be playing the United States because I think it's funny when you have the ancient city of Dallas. The default map will be 2 rectangular islands with oceans in between them. They won't be accessible between each other at first, so it'll be 4 players per island. In this game, you don't get to choose where your first city is settled. It's less impactful than you'd think, but nomad start in the game rule settings if you want to change that. The normal difficulty is adept, but for this guide I'm going to throw 2 master difficulty AIs to use as a guidepost for how well we're doing. So now we got the starting bonuses to go over. Luckily for us, there's a bunch that are very bad and we can just write off immediately. Overall, I'd like to make special mention of start with Scout. That will give you a huge edge at the beginning. Homeland +1 culture. Now 1 doesn't sound like a lot, but makes a huge difference at the beginning of the game. You basically have a 50% culture bonus compared to everyone else. Regional +1 production is very nice. If you get unlucky and start somewhere where there's not production right at hand, it's good. And then if you do start with production, you can start snowballing faster and faster. The other one, plus movement on scouts is quite good. Plus tactics on leaders is also good. I think I'm going to leave it at discount rust production because it's useful the whole game and it's a pretty simple thing to showcase. Now I think it's a good time to start up. See what we get. Okay. Starting off, we have our city descriptions. We can jump between them. They're called regions in this game, but I'm just going to call them cities. I'm sure we're all familiar with kind of Civ's way of doing it, but Millennia is a different game, definitely. We got our research, our culture, and then our domain XP, which we'll be building out a further catalog later. But for now, we just have government. We'll see around our city we spawned next to the water, which is quite powerful. Got some grassland around, got trees. If we set the yields, you can see what we get from them. Get each a food from these, 2 food from this, scrublands, just 1. Like these normal tiles, we have our warbands which can move 2 normal tiles, so we can see around here. Forests have a movement penalty. We'll see later hills and desert also do, as well as jungle. For now, I think we need to pick our research here. So 99% of the time, start scouting. It'll allow us to go through deep forest tiles, which I think are these dark ones here. We can't walk through them yet. But more importantly, it gives us a free scout. And scouting is extremely powerful at the start of the game, so we're going to want to grab that. For what we want to build first, I think a scout is a good go-to here. Town center is also worth considering, especially if you started with the scout already or you have that extra production. But first we want to move on to our government. So we start as a tribal government, which has these kinds of passive abilities to it. And then we have cards from EXP that we will build over time. If you'll hover over here, we're getting 2 per turn. So what I want to do is press Control, click, and then I want to set reminders for these 3 in particular because they're the most important. Get more food, then we can get double our research ability, and then we can get our bonus culture. We'll definitely go and grab community projects later, but for now, I think that will be all we need to do before we end our turn. We're also going to be building slowly improvement points, and for our start in particular, we might want to build a dock in a little bit, so I'm going to set a reminder for that. Okay, now let's start. Start looking. Quick early game as always with these types of games. Got a mountain. Ooh, okay. So now we found a little hut that'll give us some free bonuses. We've already passed 3 turns, so tribal farming. Get our food buff. Now we're at full food growing speed, so in 3 turns we'll get another pop in our city so we can work another tile. Our scouts spawned. They can move 3 tiles, so we can go from this forest down here. Let's grab this. Exploration XP or warfare. Exploration is a little better, because if we can get 10 more, we can get a second scout out. Got our first culture power because that built up. You're going to want to go local reforms first. You'll unlock more of these powers as we go, like because we had research now that we have Eureka's unlocked. So local reforms will boost our regional efficiency for 8 turns. And I think that's what you always want to do here. So basically everything that is produced up here will get a 25% buff. So now we're getting 2.5 government XP per turn. It's very important. Want to move on to building this town center. So end turn. Okay, that just ends in a peninsula. Let's get going out into the plains. It looks like we're at the top of the map. So we got tundra up here. I don't want to send a scout up there though. Get going, get going. Research is done for scouting. So now, I think Tribal Elders is a wise thing to go next because it lines up well with, by the end we us building our town center, we can build this, get another knowledge per turn, keep ahead of everyone else in terms of research. The other options are all fine though, but let's go with Tribal Elders. Looks like we got some desert. It's a ton of resources here. Ooh. Looks like we found borders of a minor nation, so these are a non-player type of city that we can incorporate into our own little empire here. Because of that 25% buff we got, instead of 150% growth, we got 188. Ooh, a hut down here. Ooh, okay, barbarian camp here. So there's gonna be barbarians about. Let's keep running south. Actually, let's stop that because we need that hut. Very good. Next turn, I don't see any barbarians around yet. Gonna want to go knowledge first. Agriculture is fine, but with the cycle of culture that we're building right now, once we get our culture back filled up, we'll be like 8 turns out from regional efficiency dying out, so then you can reapply it. So we got this. Turns of tribal elders earlier. So now we can make a decision on what we want next. I think if you're seeing a lot of hills, you might want to go workers first. Or if you don't have any like trees or hills around to get production, workers is very good. I think overall, defenses is quite good because you can unlock archers and get additional defense in your capitals and towns, and you get a free archer out of it. So we're gonna grab that first. We only need 3 techs to move on to the Age of Bronze, and we're gonna want to move on just immediately. Guess we'll just walk past here. More knowledge. That's 2 turns of research right there. Over here, we want that government XP. Now we have oral history unlocked. We can almost get to tribalism reformed and get double our current culture production. Will be extremely powerful. Okay. I don't know where the barbarians are. They're around the hut. With all this force, we're pretty protected from anything coming to attack us right now. But I still want to leave this warband around. Oh, here they are. Okay, ages. Now that we can move on to the Age of Bronze, since we got research almost done, and we're going to want to do that immediately. 6 turns. You'll see other nations appear up here if they've got a research advantage against you. So far, we haven't, because I think we've gotten fairly lucky in terms of knowledge pops from... Ooh, landmark. Let's go up on this hill. This river will give us a defense bonus from this getting attacked, and the hill will, so hang out up there. So we got our archers. We need to start moving out because they're strong against these basic barbarians. Yeah, see, we're at the forefront of this. So we're good so far. So here, a battle took place. They attacked us. Take our turn swinging back and forth. Since we had a huge defense buff, they lost half their health. I think they have like equal numbers in terms of strength. Like there's a whole bunch of numbers associated with all this. You don't really have to worry about it too much, because once you get to starting to stack units in groups, it'll be fine. I'm gonna set them to guard for now, just on this hill to distract them, because we need to grab this landmark. So when we discover this landmark, get exploration XP, and as well as level up our scout. It reveals this as Yosemite, so we got that there. Something to keep in mind here is just checking for how close any enemies we have in terms of competition is. Looks like there's nothing down here, so the rest of the players must be this way. Slowly walk through this forest here. Just right click it to move it along. You guys guard, region idle, can build our council. Get our knowledge up a bit higher so we have a good edge going into the Age of Bronze. We're at 3 pop already. Ooh. Starting to not grow as fast because we need more food, but since our improvement points built up, we can build a dock. We can build here on this blank water tile. We can work it to get exploration XP and money, but more importantly, it builds us a free utility ship. Which if we move here onto this resource, we can drop the thing down and we can harvest goods. So now we are harvesting a tuna, which is consumed for 5 food. We can get our growth back up. The reformed is just over, but now that it's up, we can reapply it because it's been like 8 turns already. And set our culture down. 9 more turns, we can come back to that. Hopefully by then we can have our bonus culture so we can start accelerating there. More battles. Let's speed them up a bit. Yeah, it's not taking much damage here. Let's see if I can build up their combat XP a bit. It's a little unlikely. These warband units are really terrible, so it's kind of unlikely that they'd survive for super long, but try to keep up on that. Oh, we got 2. Yeah, let's run in and take out this guy real quick. Bam. Okay. I don't really want to attack over this river, but might need to. Got the reinforcements coming, so we gotta worry about that. We have enough XP for another scout. I don't know if I think it's worth building right now, though. So let's end turn. Check in here. We're not contested for making it into the new age here, so we're doing very well. Keep moving. Next we got this guy here. I attacked my scout. Yeah. Since he ran out of blue bar, he broke and got pushed out of the tile. He's not dead though. Because of that promotion, they've got pretty good defense. And we can use our exploration XP to either heal them all or send them back home. So you can be a little brazen with these guys. Let's get running that way. Let's keep held up here. Some alpacas down there. Okay. Ooh, into civilization. That's one of our master difficulty guys. So are they our neighbors? It's a little concern. But I think we'll be fine. Stack these guys together for safety. Another one tacked across. I think we can move them towards this other stack. Actually, let's undo. Just leave them there. You can really abuse the undo in terms of knowing what's around you. I think they're gonna get that hut, unfortunately. Got one here though. Yeah, let's move them down here. You can get them in a big 3 stack. Be able to attack. Grab this. Free warband. I'll just take the XP. You can get a volunteer warband for only 25. I don't really want to be spending the upkeep on them right now. It is worth building an army in this game, but not at the moment. And hey, Age of Bronze time. New national spirits unlocked. Vassals integrate faster. Don't know what that means. Barbarian warlords may appear, which are going to be stronger barbarian units. They'll just appear next to our capitals. Innovation in chaos is introduced, and then trade and diplomats are available, as well as diplomacy and engineering XP are now here. So first, I think it's worth going over. We got plus 10 to our innovation here. This is a system that's unlocked. We have all these things unlocked in Age of Bronze, but first, we have innovation. So this is a type of meter that will fill up by 10 each turn, because that's the number we have by it right now. So we'll get 10 each turn until it fills up to 100, and then each turn after that it fills up by the same amount, but that will contribute to a percentage. So we get to like 100%, and that's 10% chance, 20% chance, and we'll get some sort of power out of it. It will be determined by like what age we're in and what units we have, or we can unlock something like a wonder that we can build in our capital, or different unit types. So that, and then we have chaos, which is a counterbalance type of thing, where if you perform actions like hostilely take over cities, attack other players, basically provoking in a bad way, it'll build chaos, and then you'll get a bad event. Conversely, you're going to want to keep a decent money supply up just to pay off these types of events, so just want you to keep that in mind. In terms of research, we have something new here. We got variant ages. So we have the normal age, Age of Iron, move on to like a Roman Empire type of era, or we can have these variant ages, which are ahistorical or a little bit fantasy inspired. Age of Blood will trigger if you kill a number of other nations' units, so in this case 6. You'll be stuck at like constant war and all that. Age of Heroes, if you discover 3 landmarks, which is kind of uncommon, you'll get like a variant age, which is like a Greek heroes type of fantasy environment. It's very fun. For now, we're just going to be shooting for the Age of Iron just for the sake of this playthrough, but if you want to get here, once you have the requirements unlocked, they're faster to research than the default Age of Iron. Something that I'm sure you've noticed is that we have all these resources around, like the tuna that we just harvested, and then we have these things like rice around here, cattle, more rice, cotton, alpacas, all these useful tiles. What you'll be finding here is a lot of the research in here is going to be ways to turn these things into other goods. So you end up using improvement points, putting down a production resource source, like we have vats here, which can turn 2 rice that we find into 2 wine, which is plus culture and suppression. So we get the improvement points, we can place that down. Get turning those goods into something more useful. Because by default, these tiles are just not very helpful. And also important thing about these types of resources, you'll find that working the improvement tiles that will produce these things will give you EXP. And they can provide a direction in terms of picking our national spirits later, which I think is a good enough time to go over national spirits. So these will occur more or less every other age, and we have to pick one of them, and we won't be able to pick any of the others. So going through them, got my favorite up first, Ancient Seafarers. You have to spend exploration XP, and you'll basically be able to get much faster expansion into these shallow water tiles. You get really cheap of these utility ships, which we can't make at the moment, but these are very powerful in terms of getting food without having to supply a worker, which makes them very good. You'll be able to reveal a new resource, which is shells. Those can give you extra money. And then you have these very strong ones at the end here. You have docks give you 2 production each, which is very strong, especially in the early game. We'll go over town adjacency later, but getting a coastal town with docks around them can be very strong in terms of giving you a huge money buffer while also getting production out. The second one here is also very powerful. Every time you have a fishing tile here, like this one, if you put a fishing boat on it, you'll get 2 fish instead of 1, so doubling your food. Secondly, we have here is naturalists. This is mostly focused around forest tiles. It's kind of an odd one to pick. It's kind of, I only think it's very good when you're trying to bail yourself out of getting a bad forest start where you're completely surrounded by forest. Like here we have space to build things around these tiles and like down here and down here. But if you're surrounded by, say, like forest here, here as well, you'll probably want to pick naturalists. You'll get +1 food from forging unimproved tiles, which is a little contradictory because I don't know how you're going to build up your exploration XP unless you have things like docks or ranches, which are when you do that on livestock, so you're going to want to improve your tiles ultimately. Naturalists also get cheaper expansion into forests, get to remove forest penalty movement the entire game, which is very good. Food from housing, which is not great. But the best one here is going to be getting half a culture from each unimproved forest tile. Eventually, you're gonna want to use these forests for building like foresters and logging camps. But early on, this can give you a real advantage if forests produce not only 2 food, 1 production, but also half a culture each. You can start zooming ahead depending on your type of start. Okay, third one, Wild Hunters, the best one. So basically, with Wild Hunters, like nothing seems like immediately crazy, but once you get your first innovation event, you'll get one where each meat will give you 1 culture, which is absurdly strong, so plus you get elephants as well, and extra food from that meat. But basically any tiles such as like deer or these like cattle or alpacas or sheep, if you have those somewhere in your main city's build, it's almost always smart to pick this one first, which I think makes it a little boring. You also get the bow hunters, which you can use to harvest deer and elephant tiles outside of your borders, which is very strong. And then you can build them up into being quite strong in terms of damage ability and all that. Reduce the expansion cost on the scrubland. Scrubland's already your cheapest. Like grassland and scrubland are the cheapest tiles you're going to be growing into anyway, but it's nice to have depending on your start. More tiles is always better. Okay, then we have the warfare ones. Raiders is interesting almost immediately because you'll be seeing, hey, every single one of these spawns 2 units for you. And there's one that lets you have 0 upkeep on these units. And then they keep getting buffed and keep getting buffed and keep getting buffed. So this is a way to basically get an early attack down on a neighbor. Overall, these units are actually quite weak in general, but you can start getting free warfare XP for fighting. I recommend going this one first, and then moving on to outlaws, then get ready to start attacking people. Overall, I think it's probably the weakest option of all these, but be on the wary if your neighbor picks it, so keep that in mind. Warriors, which is probably the most consistent option you can get. It doesn't do anything flashy, but what it does give you is first you get a free Spartan unit, which is a very strong unit. And then as soon as you grab this, you can use your culture pops to spend to get 2 more. And you only need 5 to complete this tree, but importantly here, this will give you extremely strong defense in your capitals, and if you get that as well as the research we got in Era 1, where we have additional militias, we can have very difficult to take cities. And ultimately, the extremely nice part about this one is military drills is going to be one of your best long-term investments in terms of an ability. You get 1 EXP for guarding, so you need 10 EXP per level. I think it's a max of like 5 levels. Wait, where's our leveled up guy? This guy. So yeah, we currently have 13 EXP, so say we have a unit that's just kind of holed up, guarding our place here. You can leave it there, just guarding over and over and over, and eventually you'll have a completely leveled up unit, and even if that unit gets outdated, you can either promote them or turn them into a leader, which we haven't gone over yet, but I think Warriors is quite good. I think it's easy to underestimate them. Could also give you an edge on attacking these minor nations early on if you'd like to do that. Got the engineering ones, God King and Mound Builders. I will point out for these in particular, starting out with these can be kind of tough because early on we are not building engineering XP, and you'll want to be using this engineering XP on other things as well. God King first is the one that mainly focuses on hills. Something that you'll want is these discounted stone cutters, so you can start building more engineering XP. This one's neat because you get a free limestone in all of your cities, which is quite good, and then eventually you can get your pyramid, which gives you the ability to get extra culture, and then you'll get an upgraded pyramid in one of your cities. This can be pretty good for early game. In our situation, of course, we're not going to be using it because hills are so far away, and we don't have like any additional limestone or anything. You can get stone from any hills, of course, but it just doesn't seem like a strong option at the moment, which is kind of my problem with it. Mound Builders is a pretty safe option. So basically you'll unlock a tile improvement that can only be built on grass, which basically gives you an ability to work a culture tile. It's quite strong, that alone, and then it just kind of, from there, you just kind of get a variety of little buffs around. Mount Tradition's not very useful. The rest of these are. Half-cost farms is nice. Region level in capitals is something we'll go over later in terms of region level, but this can be useful for unincorporated cities that you have. And then the big one here is food rationing. It halves your food need for the entire game per population, which can be nice, but food is not the be-all end-all for growth in this game, so don't like throw your whole lot in this just for that, but this can be a good option on like most starts though. And then Olympians is the weird one. I really don't recommend this on a first playthrough. You basically get the ability to using diplomacy XP, which we aren't building yet, which makes it tricky to pivot into. You'll be spending your culture pops on just hosting Olympics over and over because you'll get diplomacy EXP back. And then you'll be sending out cheap envoys around to other nations. On the continents game mode that we have now, we have 3 other neighbors, so we can get this down early if you want. But basically, you want to work your way up into getting a culture bonus from the Hippodrome, as well as starting to get knowledge and wealth from hosting these Olympic Games. So they're a fun option, but I don't really recommend it on the first playthrough until you're used to sending envoys around. And a strong strategy with that is force marching envoys, which is kind of high level, so we'll just leave it at that. In terms of what I'm seeing here for our start, I see a good place for us to set a town, which I'll explain in a little bit. Town to get a 5 adjacency bonus for docks and lighthouses in terms of this ability. So I think Ancient Seafarers is going to be our way to go here. So I'm going to grab this first. I don't think we need any of these right now, so I think we'll wait. The only problem with Ancient Seafarers is we're going to have to take the shipbuilding research in this era, which is not usually what I recommend. Going into research now, since we know we're going to be wanting exploration XP. Oh, also one more thing I should have mentioned with domains is that you saw we had like a 5-point bonus for choosing the one we did. That's because we got there first, but as other nations get into it, they will get bigger bonuses to pick ones that haven't been picked before. So we basically locked in Ancient Seafarers for our own. We have 8 other AIs, so probably one more might pick it. For research next, I find it hard not to go officials first because we get a free envoy. You can also claim regent tiles around you for like 30 exploration XP. Get markets, which is good, and then we can spend money to fill up our culture. I do want to be able to see first what this area looks like if we want to even take this city at all. And from what I've seen so far, probably not. It seems like it's just surrounded by mountains and hills and water. So it might be a struggle for us to use an envoy to take that city immediately. Another strong one to go for first is Discipline. You can increase your max army size to 4 units per stack, which is very strong. And then you get Reinforcements, which allow you to heal outside of borders. And Force March, which costs domain XP to move your units again. They'll have slight debuffs to what they can do, but it's a very useful power to have. And you can use these multiple times per turn. Then we get an upgrade to our warbands and spears, making them not useless. And then chariots are whatever. In terms of what else we can build, I'm thinking, yeah, belief is fine. You get a building that gets you a culture and a knowledge, which is okay. For us, we have rice here, and also grapes. They're some of the best tiles you can find, because they give you culture back, like these ones here. Community. So this will give you the ability to convert clay from clay pits and workers into just bricks, which give you double back, and it also gives you engineering XP. As well as saw pits, which give you engineering XP. Converts logs into lumber, which I think we'll be going for first. We can also use money to rush build things. And since we got that discount bonus as our starting bonus, yeah, I might go for that first, huh? Mining is very good because it gives you a free pioneer, but you really don't want to do it in this era unless you like have to. Or if you chose obviously stone workers. What should I go for here? A good piece of advice for if you chose one of the engineering ones is to find huts in this era, as well as take out these barbarian camps, which will give you the equivalent of a hut, basically. You might get the ability to get a lump sum of that EXP in, which is quite powerful. Yeah, I think I'll go for community first, because I don't see us using that envoy immediately. Also, our government reached 25, so now we get our extra culture, and now we got 20 innovation for a turn, so we'll get our innovation event soon. I'm gonna set community projects so we can get double our current improvement points up. In terms of new buildings, we can build this time. We have a city guard, which you can leave in our city to reduce unrest. We don't have any unrest yet. It's not really going to be relevant until a little bit later. Work camp is quite good. Production engineering XP, meaning hull's good. Getting a drip of diplomacy up early on is quite powerful. But for now, I think we've got a good setup going. Let's attack this camp. We've got walls ahead of them, but our archers can attack over it. Yeah, these units are very wimpy. Okay, let's check. Yeah, this city is not looking very good. Okay, there's the Indus civilization. They spawned down there. So we have a fair bit of space to expand out in this direction. Something that we need to start accounting for is where to settle put another city down. And you might want to put one kind of in between you and an opponent to get an early advantage. Kind of your typical 4X strategy stuff. So they attacked into us, and then they just died. Yeah, so 80% chance to win over and over right here, so... Die. Bam. Die. No one's inside, so we can just kill this. Explode it. Ooh, okay, we can get a crossbow from the next era early, which is very good. Where we can get 15 free production. This will give us chaos, though, so we'll start building chaos over time. Honestly, that sounds a little better than production right now. Yeah, let's go for it. Let's go crazy. Yeah. Start scouting with it. Let's grab this. Free knowledge is always nice. Edinburgh. It's usable. That's kind of the problem here. Can get a coastal city down right there. Get 4 adjacency. Something that we'll be looking out for is adjacency tiles. We'll get our culture pop next turn, and I can explain it once we settle down our first town. The problem with ancient seafarers is that you probably won't get like your full swing out of this until a little later in the game. What I am going to do is set a reminder here for whenever we do fulfill the requirements for this. We'll know to grab it, but you can just set reminders, control click to get a path going. Shells aren't the best, but I guess I'll grab it. I'll probably want docks before fish. Yeah, I'm not sure if I want to quite invest into this path yet. In terms of our culture pop, I think about now is a good time to set a town, seeing as we are at a growth cap of a population of 5. because we are stuck at region level 1. So region level will increase by building certain buildings or having towns of various levels. In terms of a town, you can place it one tile out from wherever your city is and get basically a guaranteed expansion around whatever tiles you put it next to. So that's what I was saying before, is like it doesn't really matter exactly where you settle your town, because your effective reach of your base city is going to be, especially if you ended up taking officials, is you can claim a territory one tile from your town, build this out, then you get all the tiles surrounding that town. So you'll have a giant effective range of what resources you can find. In terms of where we'll want our current town, they can be upgraded to support an adjacency bonus next to mines of various kinds, so either mines on hills or clay pits. You can make them a mining town, a coastal town, which will give you a money bonus surrounding with adjacent work tiles, a lumber town, which will give you production around adjacent tiles. The mining town gives you production as well. Or the least useful of them is a farming town. They give you bonus food around farms and plantations. So like placing one here, you could get 1, 2, 3, as well as basic farm zone here if you'd liked that. In terms of where we'll want to place our town, it's kind of tricky with our current spawn, because I'd like to place it here because we can get 3 forest adjacency instead of the 3 you'd get here or the 3 you'd get here, but we don't have the space to do it. And I recommend getting a prioritizing forest town or a mining town first, as there's you're going to be wanting to up your production in this area first. Once we get up and going and we can build the second town, we'll definitely put one here for us. And just put one down, I think here will be best off. So now that I've explained adjacency, you'll be wanting to take a look in finding city locations that will give you your best adjacency bonus per buck. Something like here, like you'll want to place a city center somewhere around here. Then you can place a town here, get 5 adjacent lumber tiles, have a big bonus for doing that, and then be able to spread out from there. So that's a pretty good city location. Finding good mountain ones can be a little harder. You'll usually only find segments of 3 that you'll find, like this is hill, hill. So if you put a town here, you get hill, hill, clay pit, so 3 adjacency. Or if you place like a town here, you can get 5 clay pits down, which can be a pretty powerful strategy, because each clay also gives you an improvement point. You can start putting down tiles like mad. I want to get moving on our engineering XP as fast as possible, because our town's only level 1, and once we get it to level 2, we can expand the town to be able to use those adjacency bonuses. Okay, we just got ability to double our community points. Raised tribal army is basically useless, so we're basically done with our tribal government. And what I'll do next is, using our government XP, we can be able to spawn a settler. So I'm going to set a reminder for that. Might just end up leaving this big stack of units right here, because I want to be able to lock off their ability to expand up north towards us. Enemy cities, since this one's a master AI, they're not going to be very cooperative in terms of working with them. Like I can say try to give us open borders, but they're not going to appreciate that. Oh, they just settled, huh? Speak of the devil. Ooh, okay. Here's that warlord barbarian that just showed up. Defense is quite strong in this game, so I'm not super worried about them fighting us. I might spawn a volunteer just to sit here in the city and defend it, but our militia just took out half their XP with not half their life, so I think I'm comfortable leaving them there. Yeah, we can see we got unrest building now because we got this enemy barbarian attacking us. It's no big deal. Once we get shipbuilding done, we can start spawning utility ships, get more food in the city, and we can start growing quite a bit faster over here. For now, we're just gonna keep scouting. Go here, discover a landmark. Oh, there was a hut here. We couldn't see it. So you gotta be careful about checking your angles. Makes me wonder about what's up here. Could be another landmark up there. Landmarks as well. You might want to consider settling near them. If we hover over them, they give you culture and government just for being within your borders, but you'll get a huge penalty for growing into them. This is why I don't see it typically worth it. Now we got shipbuilding. Discipline officials take a long time, but I think discipline will be worth it in terms of getting our units to be not as squishy, and we can also heal this stack. It's been kind of walking around. Let's leave them in the jungle to be safe here. So Agent Seafarers, now that we have the ability to spawn utility ships like this for 20, now that we can grab that, and we can spawn them for 6 on any dock. We're gonna want to grab that and start moving them onto these fish so we can start feeding our empire here. You want to put a reminder onto these. You want as many of these as possible. You can also start scouting up the coast with it. Grab, get free money, which we might need. Depends what this innovation event gives us, but yeah, let's grab the money. Nothing flashy, but we'll take it. Okay, we found the Borneo rainforest. This gives you production. Yeah, this is a pretty good safe spot. We might end up attacking it later. I'll have you know. Get bonus food from wheat, flour, and bread. Or we can take the 300 money. I don't think that'll be important because we're going to be relying so much on fish in this playthrough. Unfortunately, fish is one of those things that doesn't really like scale in terms of like production chains. Let's move on to working that. Because we got that big lump sum of money, let's use our discount in terms of rushing production, get this work camp going. Next, I think we want to build a meeting hall. We can build a galley as well if we want like a beefier unit to defend up here. But for now, we just got our fishing boats and such. Let's queue up a forester so we can start getting the production up on the city. Now that we've got a town down, we're gonna start like expanding our border a fair bit faster in all directions. You can see how cheap these tiles were in terms of expanding when they're right next to a town here. So we got that rice unlocked. As soon as we get our other town down here, and we gotta expand into bar tiles up, we can... I always think I want to reveal shells, and then I realize, never mind, I want improved utility ships. They're way better. We'll use this utility ship to start exploring around. Looks like there's a little island this way. There's not usually too many out in the water that are of note. May as well look around though. Yeah. We're gonna start getting barbarian boats sent this way, so we'll have to build a galley to defend ourselves. Well, Eureka's are useful for getting like our 10 knowledge. Unfortunately, we're at a town limit at the moment, so we can't use that. Cutting Edge gives us some innovation, which I don't think is the most useful. Unfortunately, we can't reduce this chaos that we're building yet, so I'm just gonna be doing increased efficiency so we can get building faster domain XP growth in our cities. Up that to 2.5 times and up to 125. Okay. In terms of here, we got a forester we can build. Instead of getting 1 production, 1 food, now we get a log that gives us 2 production from this tile. We're gonna want to put more of these down. Shang Dynasty found us. Not sure where. Oh, there's their scout. If you want to, you can declare hostilities and be able to attack them in neutral territory. But we have no reason to like piss them off. Something you'll notice now is now that we're at 6 population, we require housing. So we're gonna have to spend improvement points to build housing tiles, otherwise we will get less growth overall. You want this needs to be completely fulfilled to get max growth, so it's not just food that will allow you to grow your city fast. Let's stack these 2 together. They have the same amount of movement, so we can just keep them together. Another thing. Do I want more culture? I don't think so. Let's just max out discipline. So obviously we could go Age of Heroes here, just for the sake of this playthrough. We'll just be going down normal ages. It looks like we're at a pretty good advantage in terms of research right now, because we have not seen anyone try to go to the next era yet. We got a reminder. Now we got 30 government XP, we can spawn a settler. This is honestly kind of slow build to it, but can use it to -1 population for now, because we aren't really doing much here at the moment. Nice thing about taking that, using money to rush production, is that whenever you're 1 turn away, it gets really cheap. Usually, because of overflow production and all that. So keep an eye on your cities when they're building things, so you can grab stuff like that. I think I will build the settler this turn, because I don't think we need to be working all these food tiles right now too. It will drop us back down to 200% needs. So settlers can be used in combat. They're basically just defense, they don't have much attack, so we're going to be spawning a volunteer warband. Oh, spear, because we upgraded from... You can also force march them to move again, but for now let's just leave it as is. In terms of a city location out here, we need to figure it out. This is looking promising right here. Getting the adjacency from these forests is very good. If we wanted to go further out, we could go adjacency over here, or we could do a whole clay pit strategy. We don't have them researched right now, but since we're going to Age of Iron, the things behind it are going to start being absurdly cheap. Because you get research bonuses, basically, for other nations researching it. You'll notice that we haven't even researched plantations or farms yet, because we really haven't needed them. Like, it wouldn't have given us much of a bonus other than some money. Yeah, I think what will be wise is settling probably here. Yeah, settling here seems fine. Do have all this space up here, which I'm not sure exactly what we want to use for. Down here, we might end up taking this city. And probably throw a city up here. Get a nice coastal city up there. Yeah, we got space to work with. Might also grab Naples, because if you're looking for a good wild hunters city, if you spawned right here, oh my god. Look at all these sheep. Sheep are some of the best resources in the game, so spawning all around them is very strong. Let's see. Can we rush this? Yes, we can, but we're about to get a chaos event. And we might not have enough money to pay it off, unfortunately. We got a little unlucky here. Still not very much tuna that we can grab far away from our cities. We'll have to explore up north. They always say no damage, and then you take a little. Spearmen tend to get targeted, as well as warbands and all those frontline units. I guess I haven't explained quite all the unit types. So we have ranged support types of units. You get your bows, your crossbows. You got your line units, which will be taking like the brunt of attacks. You have bonus attacks against cavalry types, and then you have cavalry here, which is going to be strong against these support ranged. So it's got like a little attack triangle type thing. The last type you'll have to worry about is leaders. You can promote using Warfare XP to get a leader, which will give you a tactics bonus, which is essentially a 10% per level attack bonus for your whole rest of your stack. So it starts getting insane. These level 1 leaders are not particularly useful, so that's why I've not bothered to upgrade my scouts yet. Got some post-recorded commentary here. I was wondering if any of you have tried Millennia before, or if this is your first exposure to the game. And leave a comment down below. We are low on money at the moment, but I want to build a lookout so we can start getting additional exploration XP so we can finish our domain and get our good powers here. Let's end here. Let's actually undo all that. I think I want to send the spear home, actually, because we're about to get a chaos event. We might get units at our door. Our city militia hasn't recovered all the way, so we might need to like build an emergency scout or something to defend. We'll see how it goes. Getting that diplomacy trickle in about now. Probably want to leave a notification on Envoy. Just 30, but they can be used on enemy nations, as well as being able to instantly integrate one of these minor nations to your side. Another thing we could do is attack Edinburgh, and then destroy it, which will give us a free pop in our city. It will give us a bunch of chaos, though. But something you need to keep in mind with this chaos meter, so we won't be able to pay off these, so I'm gonna spawn a bunch of barbarians in our city. Luckily, we only have the one. Unluckily, we don't have any units in it. We're gonna have to throw... spend our money on this lookout, because once we have a lookout, we can capital attack one range outside our city, so we can weaken these guys. I don't really want to build a scout to defend here, but I might need to. Mage and Iron in 4 turns. Unfortunately, since we're badly under siege here, getting a fair bit of unrest and our city's less effective at working. You'll see how a bunch of these tiles are X'd out because there's barbarians on them. We do have a free road built between our settlements. It'll half the amount of movement it requires to get to a particular tile, but even through forests, it's still going to be one normal 10 move. So, okay, taking damage. Let's see what it is. So 1 unit died, didn't do too much damage, thankfully. 2 units died. Okay, now I can capital attack here. It says we're damaged, but we're not damaged bad at all. Get that dwelling built. Get our needs met, so we're finally growing at max speed. Got another culture pop. I think regional efficiency again, unfortunately. You see that we have diplomacy XP, we can terminate any wars we're in for free. Not very useful right now. We could get 3 turns of research done and just jump into the Age of Iron right now, though. It's an alright option. I think since our city's under siege, we probably want to. Man, no one's contesting these ages. We're doing really well. I was expecting one of the master level nations to be able to keep up with us, but so far we've been doing fine. We get cutting edge. You'll see after also the chaos pops that it resets down to a lower amount, so we'll just build very slowly. As well as the innovation pops. So we're slowly building at 6 points at a time, up to like 200. So yeah, I think since our city's damaged, let's just Eureka and jump into the Age of Iron now. You typically don't want to use Eurekas multiple times in an age, though. So now, Age of Iron. Population growth rate is up an 1/8. Can now get cheaper mines and new governments. As well as iron and gold are now in the around, and you get a new domain, the arts domain. So once we find ways to do that, you'll see biggest thing is government. We can get to move on from our tribal one. So we basically have to find a way to spark a revolution. So we have 2 main ways. Violent revolution, which gives you a bit of chaos. It's not very much, but the problem with it is spending 50 government XP, which you're going to be wanting to use on your new government. So that's not very worth it. You can spend culture to be able to do a peaceful revolution, which doesn't cost you anything, which is what we'll be doing here. You'll almost always want to do that in terms of the early game. Looking around, we can now see iron. They didn't tell us this, but coal can also spawn and also show up now. See iron around. I don't see any gold. Yeah, no gold spawn near us. That's fine. Gold's useful for that whole arts thing that we were told about. So, new era. Research is starting to get a bit longer here, so Gonna be more cutting. Moving on, we got 2 that we're going to ignore. Horses and construction. These are almost useless. Don't bother. Catapult might be more useful nowadays since they've overhauled the combat, but I don't really think so. We have smelting, which you can use to turn resources you get from mines into usable ingots, and then you can turn those ingots further into tools. It's a very strong train of building to get you a ton of production, or you can turn those ingots into spears. The one that you're going to want to focus on first is the cheapest one here, infrastructure. Gives you oven, you can change your flour you make from your wheat back here into bread. You get sanitation building, which we'll run into once we get to 11 population. You're going to need sanitation requirements. Public quarters is a much better housing type. It produces some sanitation needs, but it gives you triple the housing per unit, and you can work it for extra money compared to dwellings. And then finally, you can build a second town in your region, which is very good, so we're going to rush that. The next thing we're going to be doing is getting scribes, because more knowledge is key when stuff starts getting more expensive. You're going to want more knowledge. The logs we've been getting from our woodworking, you can turn it into paper, and then into manuscripts for more knowledge as well. So once you start doing well, you're going to want to start doing that. In terms of arts is probably your third best option here. Colosseum, you get culture and warfare while reducing unrest in your cities. It's useful. You can get arts XP trickle. You can turn stones into arts XP, and then spawn artists using that arts XP. Very useful. Horses are very cheap, so if you want to just go infrastructure scribes horses, that's also a smart option. A good thing to do now is also immediately jumping back and grabbing these cheap ones. I recommend waiting until you get infrastructure down first, but that's also a very viable strategy. So now, your second city down, we got New York. We're out of range for building a road here that'll connect these two, but once we are able to get an outpost down, we can start connecting the two pretty easily. We've been trickling in engineering XP now. I want to highlight Expand Town, so we can set a reminder for later. Crucial that we do that. Now we can start moving quicker on these turns though, because I think this strategy here is starting to solidify, huh? Want to make space for yourself. Something that we'll start to encounter in the Age of Iron is conflict between your neighbors, because they're going to start getting mad at you, especially the higher end level you set the AI. I like master difficulty generally. We're using mostly adept AIs here just for the sake of setting like a standard game setting, but they will be very hesitant to support you at all unless your power score is much higher than theirs. They will consider that over most other things to working with you. Power score and proximity are the main things they consider. Like, since we've been doing well enough, like, I don't know why they haven't been doing as well as we have in terms of their ability to expand, but so far they've been kind of kowtowing to how we are. Another Age of Iron thing, we have unlocked crossbows for upgrades from archers. So you'll want to do that once you have the money for it. Right now we're kind of hemorrhaging money. We'll get around to fixing that soon. An issue is once your units start getting really far away from your cities, like they'll stop prompting you to continue to use them. So like the scout, I didn't move it last turn because the option didn't pop up in our end of turn slide. So I recommend like right clicking with them And making sure they have a move option selected so we'll actually come up in the queue down here. Yeah. Our militia upgraded as soon as we moved on to the next era, so we're very strong here. I'm just gonna soften these guys up, because we're inside our friendly territory. They're gonna start healing passively over time, so we're safe. Destroyed that camp. Take that chunk of government XP, that's gonna be useful. We're currently capped at only 100 XP per category right now, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Shouldn't be a big issue though. Huge new building is added in the Age of Iron as well. The granary. It gives you a region level and 15 food, which is a ton. Because we went with Ancient Seafarers, we don't really have to worry about food growth, but as soon as our vassal here, which our settled cities start as vassal, we can integrate them with 30 government XP later, as soon as this is up. But as soon as we integrate our vassal, a strong option is using their production tiles first just to rush build a granary, and then have food settled for like a bunch of their levels. So we can start building a decent military stack that I want to send down this way. I think a smart option is to always consider fighting your opponents. It can be easy to fall into a trap in these types of games where no one's currently challenging you. Do not build armies, but armies are so strong, as you can been seeing as we've been clearing out these barb camps. You can get a ton of rewards just from attacking them. I'm just gonna guard here so they can attack into us. Yeah, let's just stay on this hill and scare them a bit. I think I want to levy workers. Turns our production into improvement points. It's really inefficient because we didn't bother to grab workers back here. We'll go back and get it later. But for now, I want to start getting our tile improvements out. Ottoman Empire just gave us an open borders proposal. May as well accept it. I don't think they're at war with anyone right now. So it's not a big deal that we'd be friendly. Yeah, the Shang Dynasty is pretty hostile towards them, so they're gonna start not liking us as much, but no big deal. Building up alliances can be quite powerful in this game, but AI usually does not allow it because it's that strong. Okay, we get an innovation event. You can give us a Damascus sword unit. I don't think it's really worth it, and we're also bleeding money. Like, these types of units can be powerful because they're line units that are strong against line units. So you'll just end up taking out units very fast. But for now, let's just keep moving. Unrest is growing in our city right now. Since Unrest is building, it's not building super fast, thankfully. So you can either build like a unit to sit there, or we can build a building, like a watch here, to suppress that unrest. I think I'm gonna rare situation where I want to build a watch because we have a lot of unit upkeep at the moment. Might have to start disbanding them if we stop using him. Let's just leave this guy, he's not doing anything. Found a stray Ottoman pioneer here. If you walk into them, they get sent back home, which seems a little mean. because their borders are like right here. Let's just leave them for now. Looks like the Indus just spawned a merchant. I don't know if they're coming to help us or what. They can send that just to scout ahead or take money. Okay. Got infrastructure complete. I want to go backwards quick and grab a couple of these research nodes that we passed up originally. I think I want to grab officials first because I want that free envoy. And then I want to grab workers as well so we can get better improvement point build because ours is very slow at the moment. Got a threat. Oh yeah. Okay, so now we can do a peaceful revolution. You can reconsider and try something different, but we want that peaceful revolution here. Okay, so our two choices. We got two kind of very different takes on how to build a powerful empire here. We got Imperial Dynasty, which is it's a fairly basic type of government where you basically build up your one main city. You unlock your palace, which will spend 20 government XP to apply to any city of your liking. You only get one. Basically, you want to take this, grab a free extra food per farm you have, which is nice. Can make plantations actually worth it in the early game. Then grab these two. These two are huge. Getting bigger population will give you more production and more knowledge. And it will give you a fractional amount relative to your population as well. So it isn't just a hard cap. You won't get an extra knowledge unless you have 5. You'll get 0.2 per pop. Very, very good. Feng Shui and city sewers, you just get slightly better housing and sanitation on your improvements there. Region level is kind of useless, and then you get to reform it. Pretty straightforward, very strong. Kingdom, it's a little less strong, but it's a very interesting type of playstyle. Basically, you get a seat of power building that you have to build, but it gives you extra government XP and diplomacy, so you'll be building through this tree a lot faster than dynasties, and this is mostly built around buffing your vassals. So you'll want to rush as fast as you can to get installing this, because 5% prosperity per turn is not a lot. You have a max of 300 per city, and you start at 100, of course. And more prosperity will buff your vassals and the returns they give to you significantly. It's a very interesting way to play it, and once you get that prosperity high, you can spend 20 government XP to basically get a knowledge bomb. You'll rush a bit of knowledge. So it's actually smart to not really integrate as many cities as you think. Integrating cities right away I don't think is a strong strategy in this game. Getting a second one already comes with a culture penalty of -3 culture, and it gets more severe after that. It gets to 7 and I think 12. It might be more than 12. But this kind of setup encourages you to, hey, get cheaper settlers, which I don't think this is worth it, but spawn envoys 30% cheap. Very good, especially if you're going Olympians, you'll want this for sure. Cheaper envoys is very strong. But as you go through it, you really only need these few things, and then you can get to your culture bonus quick. Ultimately, I think it's a more fun way to play, but Imperial Dynasty is the more consistent option, so I'll be showing that to you today. We'll grab this, grab 5 grains, grab this. So you want to do this. Always remember, construct palace. You're going to want to remember to do this, or you don't get your production bonus, and you'll just forget for like 20 turns and realize, why am I falling behind? In 2 turns, we can finally expand our town, so this population limit won't be a big deal anymore. For now, we're just gonna have to live with it. We're starting to get mad in our city, though. Which is gonna start causing problems. Yeah, we just reached 30 unrest, which is giving us like a 10% penalty. It's fine for now. We'll live with it. Let's build a second dwelling here. Start building foresters. The nice thing is that since we went with shipbuilding here, we can actually put our units into shallow water. Load to transport here. And we also have a pretty nasty expand into water penalty by default. By default in this game. As you can see, we haven't even taken our Call to the Sea buff yet, and we're already expanding into these quite fast. They'll start being crazy as soon as we put more down. Eventually I'm going to take out the stock and move it, but for now it's fine. Let's move this utility ship up here and try to look for more food. Okay, our envoy's out. So we need to safely maneuver this guy out too. Why'd you place the city here? Come on. You guys aren't smart. Anyway. Gotta move this envoy safely over to Naples. It's gonna take a while. I think I want to... If I move it out here, I can send it home. And I can have the... see, they expanded their tile here just so I can get knocked off. It's funny. Why'd you put city here? Come on. Oh, he's not even thinking. They have a settler here. I might start swinging soon. Okay. Let's grab workers and then we'll get on to moving through the rest of the Age of Iron. Okay, expand town. We have enough points here. Gonna expand this town to level 2. Removed our pop cap. So now we can change this to a lumber town. And because we have tile improvements, there are these foresters. We're getting +6 production just for having this town here. The way to see what will give you adjacency, you have to like slowly do this little hover trick here. So you can change these improvements whenever you want. So don't be married to any particular improvement unless you have to. There will be points later in the game where you're just gonna have to like rework all your improvements at once. Okay, this settler is concerning me. Let's build up a stack. I want to declare hostilities against them, so we can get the jump. Okay, they broke. Don't have quite enough to force march and attack, unfortunately. Like, half tempted to just like throw these guys in there and just get the free XP. Because the annoying part about attacking settlers is that they can settle next turn before I have the chance to do anything about it. They'll just panic settle right there. There was a hut here this whole time, huh? And the closest tuna is this far away. Oh my god. They didn't settle, which is interesting. I don't know where they went, though. Here they are. I don't think I have any way to kill these guys. God. This sucks. I think they're gonna settle this turn. Yeah. We'll have to kill them. You forced my hand into civilization. Prepare to die. Something that we need to keep in mind for this age is if we don't keep our sanitation up, we can get thrown into the Age of Plague instead. Which is, these chaos ages, these like crisis ages aren't inherently worse. They're usually worse though. And Age of Plague will nerf your health and make you spend a lot more improvement points fixing things than something like Age of Monuments. I think I want Lighthouse first. Something that I can do is also build like one more utility ship real quick, and then I'll finally be able to get a free exploration XP so I can fill out the rest of this afterwards. Social fabric stuff is not going to be relevant for this guide. Boo! Hello, hello. Hoping you're enjoying the video so far. Now back to it. Can spawn a merchant here. Build up prosperity in New York for a little bit. Before I finally decide to integrate it. Might be wise. It's also wise to use your culture pops on building towns inside your vassals as well. It's very strong for getting them to grow their border growth. Putting a city and having max prosperity is almost better than having them integrated with those alone. Which is the stronger part about having vassals in general. Okay, so I can finally put down second city down here in Philadelphia, or I could throw one in New York, but I think I want this here for now, just so I can start building up my money reserves. I think for woodwork I need to throw down my saw pit. I can like double my engineering XP just by doing that alone. I don't have any way to gather rice right now. I would make it a priority just to climb territory, get that and that, but I don't have VATS researched at the moment. I think we'll be fine. We're gonna start falling behind in this age because it's a little hard to make the pivot at the right point. Look at all this production, man. Hello, Naples. Okay. Could wait for an envoy. I think instead I'll spawn a merchant for here. So we can build 10 prosperity per turn. Get this place growing bigger. Because it doesn't really fulfill like our win conditions at the moment. Because right now we're focused on lighthouse buff, coastal city, get a ton of money. And this is not going to help in that regard. We will need the second city in New York later, just because once you start having buildings that outpace like the penalty you get in culture, it becomes very worth it. Get extra exfoliation XP. So we're building 4 per turn. I think I will set a dock down here preemptively, because it's going to help with the adjacency bonus. We got knowledge mandate, oh yeah. 2 extra research per turn. It's going to start speeding us up a lot. Once we get scribes, get our library built, get all that. We're gonna need a midden soon. It's our sanitation building. Another dwelling as well. Yeah, we're kind of falling behind on improvement points, unfortunately, with our current build. Okay, scribes is complete. So actually I want to cancel that galley I'm building so we can build our library. So how much? Mining's only 2 turns. Getting the culture would be nice here. I think I'm just gonna jump straight to arts just cause, well, getting a pioneer here so I can build like so I can have a road that connects along here. And we can move quicker in terms of getting units out and attacking. That sounds good, but I'll have to set units to defend it and then use improvement points to grab all these resources, which I don't think is worth it at the moment. Or particularly feasible, I should say. Yeah, I might go out of my way to like kill this guy real quick. Prosperity's building. You can see the rewards you get from vassals in terms of income here. It's pretty pitiful, but prosperity improved, you'll start getting like half a point a full point of research and all that. It scales pretty fast. City sprawl is a real big thing in this game. Leaving extra space for additional towns is very important, especially for your capital. Like, we'll have space up here and down here that we can expand to. Because you'll have about 3 cities for most of the game. 3 towns, I mean, per city. I'm going to start levying workers, get my improvement points up very fast. I'm going to start needing them. Finally got our town expansion for Flagstaff here. Can give it a coastal buff. Now I can start earning big money bonuses from adjacency here. Unfortunately, we'll have to save up for our sanitation needs at the moment. So I can't like fully exploit it at the moment, so just stay tuned. Got our midden out. I definitely want to put a unit on here and then lock it. Increase the amount of sanitation removal we get from here. Okay, we got our foreign import slot as well. By default, you'll only get one option. You can spend 8 of the gold that you're earning here for one culture. You'll get more import options once you open relations with other nations and you aren't like hostile or at war with them. We'll start scaling money pretty quick, so I'm going to grab it anyway, even though it'll be technically negative for us at the moment. I'm gonna integrate New York at some point soon. Okay, Shang Dynasty is ahead of us at the moment in terms of research, and they're at Age of Plague, unfortunately. So we're gonna have to figure something out here in terms of getting ahead of them, because we're at 14 turns, they're at 11. One way we could do it is turning our production into manuscripts. Well, basically we turn the logs we're getting from these foresters into paper, into manuscripts. It'll help our knowledge per turn, but I don't think there's going to be a way to catch up with them completely other than attacking them. Oh, they finally showed up for a fight. Sorry, man. Yeah, we might even win off the first attack. We'll see here. Yeah, all their units surrendered. We didn't even have to like kill them all. And we still grabbed the city. I don't even know if I want to keep it at all, is the thing. Because the option we have is to destroy a region. Basically per 5 population you'll get more chaos earned. For now I just want to evaporate it. And then move on to the city, try to take it before our chaos maxes it out. Oh, here's their army. 103, 2. Okay. We're fine for the most part. I think I want to promote the scout to a leader though. Let me see, 2 crossbow units, so we should be fine. And this will give us a defense and attack bonus based on their tactics. It's 1+1 because of their veteran level. Then we rush more units in after this. We want to take out this town before we take out the main city because I don't want to use that one. It's at 2 population now. Yeah, I think I'm gonna rush into building up New York. I think that's my best option in terms of being able to outpace the Age of Plague. Just got my monarchy reform this turn, which is whatever. Double fish. Now we're swimming in fishies. Palace gets free plus culture, helpful. Yeah, we're still we're 3 turns away now instead of 4, but building up the knowledge I get from here is just gonna take a while. Are they trying to invade me on the coast? Oh, it's just all cavalry. I'm gonna take Naples, guys. Yeah, Naples is building up quick, thankfully. Battalion's sneaking away, which is fine. Just need to make note of which way they're going. And this will be the calmest territory I can attack across. You always gotta be worried about these defense modifiers. Since the river's flanking along these trees, it can be very tough to attack. Balakat will be mine. Before long, though. And still dealing medium damage with the stack. I don't want to stick next to the city, really. But there's not like a great range to like stay out of fire. I think I'll attack with the stack though. Spearman's probably gonna die though. Like next turn, when the city attacks. I do want to reinforce. To rush build the council. Get that granary up and running. How much does a library cost? Don't think I can build one yet. Yeah, I need region level 3. Why did you do that? I'm gonna have to kill that one as well. I think I'm gonna attack with all my crossbows first, just to soften them up. I can get the back line, but I don't think that matters really. Let's try it. All my line units are dead. It's gonna be a problem. But on the bright side, look at all this money. Wonderful. Imperial Dynasty reformed. Can grab these later. And my scribe is up, so I can build that 5 turns away. Yeah, I don't think there's a way I can prevent it. Because even in 2 turns I won't be able to buy my culture pop. That's frustrating. Got a chaos event with broken text. Not sure what broke. Oh no, our council broke. Council is the one thing we needed. We need knowledge per turn. I don't think there's going to be a way for us to catch up at this point. We really needed the knowledge. That's unlucky. I'm just going to have to focus on defending my land here for a bit. Gonna have to abandon the race for the next stage. Thing is, since the Age of Plague is less expensive, I will be able to get there as like second or third. Anyway. No, just second straight up. It's only Rome and Russia. We're close. Naples is max prosperity, so they'll probably get close to 5 pop pretty soon. I'll just send this north. Yep, attack first and then lunge at them. Because our city's growing so fast, we're already seeing the next era's need. So we're going to start slowing in terms of growth. Upgrade it to a lumber town to rush that granary. Unfortunately though, the Age of Plague is upon us. Second nation to enter this age. We won't be going in depth. This is where we'll be leaving off in terms of a good starter guide for the first few eras. As you can see, we're already in a good spot. We're second on research. We have a clear roadmap for where we want the rest of our cities to be and what we need to secure. Like, dealing with like these tiny cities that they're dotting around, like this outpost is not gonna last at all. Like, you can like walk into it now. It's like, cool, you just wasted a pioneer, good job. One thing that we didn't get around to doing, which I need to showcase, is pioneers themselves. I've got a pioneer in place. I'm gonna set it down. Automatically creates roads in between space. Something you'll have to keep in mind though is border expansion will be reset by outpost borders. I think this is a big problem with the AI, is that they'll often like reset their own borders for no reason. New things of this era, you can spend 40 engineering XP to upgrade to a castle and gives you slightly different improvements you can do. And one thing that outposts can also do is be absorbed as level 2 cities that they're adjacent to. Further ramming ahead that the effective range of most normal city spawns is extremely far, and you really don't have to worry too much about exactly where you place it. Obviously placement matters, but worrying about it too much is not a big deal. Just give yourself space between your cities is the main thing. The main thing you want to build is trade posts, which will give you 1 copy of each of these goods. So yeah, you can just show off. Yep, it gets absorbed, and you have the space just to gather what you need. It starts immediately as level 2, so you can be like, hey, farming town, let's go. And pioneers start at 24, and expanding town starts at 25 before this era, and it gets more expensive as you go. And then each pioneer you buy gets more expensive. So early on, pioneers are very effective, especially if you want to use them for setting roads to move inwards. between areas, they can be extremely effective in terms of that. Outposts by default do not have defenses, but when you change them to castles, they will. So keep that in mind as you go. In terms of what you should be focusing on for 4th era, I'm going to just pretend like this is normal Age of Kings. There's going to be one which is a research one that gives you knowledge buildings, as well as a continual knowledge levy project that you can use in your cities. Very important. For Age and Plague in particular, what you'll end up doing is cleansing outbreaks with either improvement points like this or using these plague doctors. You'll notice as you go throughout the stages, you'll have less buildings available to you that you need to build. The big research points that you need to find are the doubling of effectiveness of farms, plantations, and livestock, as well as being able to increase your towns from level 2 to level 3. You need to focus on improvement points as much as possible and start building your goods chains, because the game will start slowing down at this point, and it's going to be a bit of a pivot. By the time you reach the eras after Renaissance, you'll have to do more and more research, get your manuscripts built, and all that will allow you to be much more effective going into these later eras. Now I want to cap off this guide by giving a quick rundown of all the national spirits we have here. Explorers is the first one here. I think it's the best option in terms of catching up if you've fallen behind before in knowledge. You basically get Renaissance explorers early. You'll be able to get like special camps which will boost your knowledge. You get barbarian neutrality. You can explore deep water first. This option's very good if you're doing like an islands type map. In terms of like finding landmarks you can use your explorers on, you can get a good advantage, especially if people aren't like worried about you in the game. But expeditions do require big swaths of various domain XP though. Crusaders and Theologians I'll do later. Cons is basically like a cheap way to get a strong army fast. You'll basically get a very strong leader that gives you good bonuses, and then horse archers. And then what you'll do is get your call to war, and then for every integrated region you have, you'll be able to spawn 2 more horse archers. And then it just kind of spirals from there. You got quick movement, you can run around fast. Machinery, this one's been reworked a couple of times because it's just kind of like a not very appealing option. At most, I'll say, is like if you have a ton of coal and you're getting a lot of your production from spaces with coal, this is a good option. Basically, you get a tanker which you can turn metals into improvement points, which can be nice. You get a building that gives you luxury. It's not very good. Trebuchets are alright. Extra worker slots for these unique buildings that you get, like the coal furnace. Coal furnace doesn't seem great. It might be better than the lumber mill. It's about equal. So it's not a terrible option, especially once you get a bonus from local industries, so it's okay. You also get iron prospectors, which are neat, because you got gold prospectors last era you can get through here. Just put gold on a hill tile. Very good. So machineries, okay. Shogunate and spice merchants, on the other hand, are awesome. Shogunate, basically you get daimyos, which will give you regional efficiency buffs when you have them garrisoning your city centers. You'll be able to promote them to shoguns, which will let you give big bonuses to everything. Basically, it gives you like a way to both get a prosperity increase for your own regions and then also be able to have warpath and defense. It's kind of hard to explain just by looking at the tree, unfortunately. Building enough Diplo XP is gonna be tough unless you like have some tea that spawns in this era. Using Dynamos as leaders is okay, but leaving them in capitals is what you want to do. Spice Merchants, on the other hand, is the Diplomacy Kings. Something that you'll notice immediately is you'll be able to get a desert good, which is very uncommon in this game. You get spice, which is alright. But the real interesting parts you need to see is send treasure, which will give you high diplomacy ratings. See, we got like -7 here. We have improved relations, which will give you like +30 about, or like send gift, which will give you +10 normally. This will basically be send gift, but it gives you +75 opinion. They're like vital for popularity building. And also outside of that, you get the amazing trade post buff. So trade posts are what you use for outposts that you get with pioneers. So Spice Merchants, very cool. You need 10 trade posts to get their final pip, which is a lot, but you'll be getting your diplomacy build from desert outposts for this one though. So you almost need to spawn next to desert for this to be viable. Also, opportunists can be a little useful. Unfortunately, you have to be within your own territory to do this. So this is a good option. If you spawn around a lot of deserts, it can be very useful to make like a lot of these junk tiles like less of a problem and worth actually investing in. It's weird that they don't have a desert growth penalty remover. Next up, got an odd one with Chivalry. It's basically a vassal investment type of deal. Like upgraded outposts will give you culture and wealth, which is neat, but first and foremost you need to worry about is call the banners. You can get a bunch of weak units called at every single one of your vassals. So if you had like a bunch of vassals, you get a ton of these peasants. You can dub them to turn into knights with this. You also get tapestry weavers, which let you get build your art XP first, so I recommend going there first. And then you get big vassal population growth, which is very neat. I don't think it's very strong compared to the other options, but Cons and Crusaders gonna have them beat. And then reason why I'm avoiding Cons and Crusaders is now you can found your own religion in this era. It basically acts as another need that gives you a culture bonus. You'll have religious buildings to build, as well as abbeys, which are outpost improvements that you need to have a castle district on the outpost. It's quite an expensive endeavor, but the culture you get out of it is very powerful anyway, so pivoting into it is a good idea. So once you have a religion set, there's only 6 religions allowed for the 8 players, so you have to get to culture quick and also have any art XP at all to be able to found one. So that's where Theologians and Crusaders come in. Theologians, extremely powerful. Along with the abbeys you can build on flatlands, now you have monasteries which you can build on hills, which are even better. This is like your main way of building up this tree. And then finally, when you get to the end of it, you also get your arts XP from here. But once you get to the end of it, you get double the culture bonus for religious population. It's very crazy when you get Age of Monuments and you can double buff it by like 20% as well in terms of the culture you're getting. It's a very strong strategy. Theologian's one of the most powerful you got, as well as Crusaders. But you need your Warfare XP to like build it up on your own, but how it works is once you have your own religion set up, you get your Knights of the Order that you can call a crusade and get very strong cavalry units that can just roll over everyone else because you get an attack bonus against places that have heretical religions, and then you get a double culture just from owning a separate religious birthplace. So it's absurdly powerful, just kind of a rolling the game type of strategy that is very effective. This is where we leave off, and I say thank you for watching this video. No, it's a long one, but I wanted to really showcase how interesting of a game Millennia is. And I know people had a huge struggle of finding a stable way to start the game and get ahead at the beginning. So my question is, did you learn something new from this video? Or if there is something that I didn't cover, I'd love to hear it in the comments.